If you've been living under a rock for a while, M. Night Shyamalan has completely changed the way that we see cinema. We see films as like, oh, okay, he's gonna go very goofy with it, he's gonna go very philosophical, he's also gonna have a lot of plot twists. And it's changed the way that we view cinema. For instance, we kind of expect a jump scare, or we expect a twist that M. Night is very much used to. But Trap, his newest film, it's on his own wavelength. It doesn't fit into any of those categories. So yeah, we're going to talk about Trap today. Trap follows a man and his teenage daughter, but he realizes they're at the center of a dark and sinister event while watching a concert. That's a very brief synopsis. There is a lot to this film. Actually, I'll take that back. There's not as much as you would think. But I want to start this review by talking about M. Night's past films and talking about M. Night as a whole, and why I think that his films are very goofy, but at the same time they're kind of interesting. His last two films, Old and Knock at the Cabin, I really like them. I think Old gets better with every viewing. It's very stupid, it's very goofy, and it knows it is. But Knock at the Cabin takes a more grounded approach. It was a pinnacle COVID film, I think. They shot it during COVID and then released it not too long ago, which explains why there's only a few people in there. But that one location, which I will get to with Trap, the location in Knock at the Cabin really helps with the immersion of it all. And now we got Trap, which kind of a mixture of both of those films. Is kind of taken the, for what we know of both of those films, such as the grounded nature of Knock at the Cabin and then the silly goofy elements of Old, and then putting it together and splicing it to make one ridiculous ass movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. One of the best things about it, Josh Hartnett. He's having so much fun. He is a freak of nature in this. The line delivery, which is down to the direction, is very stunted and very stilted, but that's kind of the M. Night way that you got to expect. And Josh Hartnett is eating it up. He's eating up these words. He's being a freak. He's doing everything that you could possibly want from this guy, and I loved it. I loved his performance in this film, and his performance is helped by the location, of which is a concert. I've been wanting a thriller set at a concert for a while, kind of like 1917, with in terms of the wanting something, because with 1917 I've always been like, oh, what about a one-take war film? And then with this, it's like, oh, what if we get a thriller set at a concert? If you catch my drift. And we finally got a thriller set at a concert, and it's a really interesting thriller at that. It's not really taking liberties, and it's not taking its time either, because this film starts and then it just completely cuts and cuts and cuts and then goes as quick as possible, and you don't have much breathing room, but at the same time you're kind of living it in real time with Josh Hartnett. But back to the location, seeing this big scale that M. Night's working on, he hasn't really worked on a scale like this before, I don't think. The biggest was, I'd say, Last Airbender, but look how that turned out. This is where the location really helps his films. Seeing that there are a lot of sets, a lot of extras on the set as well. That really gives you a grand scope of, is this guy really hiding in plain sight, or are these people actually seeing through it all? And with the location comes the music from M. Night's daughter, Salika Night Shyamalan. There's a lot of nepotism involved in this film, and it's kind of a love letter to his kids at the same time. Because one of M. Night's daughters, Shana, released a film this year called The Watchers. I did not like the film whatsoever. I thought the film was kind of dooky and very pretentious, and very much a carbon copy of what we know of M. Night. And M. Night really pushed that to be released. He was putting all over his Twitter and everything. He was trying to give her a shot, which I really admire. And then the same with Salika, with her music literally being the reason why the plot happens, and her character Lady Raven being one of the reasons why the plot moves. And I really like that, actually. I really like that M. Night self-inserts himself to be like, oh, isn't she amazing, and all of this. And it's very sweet to see, but at the same time it's kind of like, alright, we know a lot of nepotism in filmmaking nowadays. We know that you don't get anywhere in the industry unless you know somebody. Very much one of those things where you're like, okay, there's a lot of nepotism involved. Do I buy it? Yeah, I actually do buy it in this case. Which leads me to the second half. I'm not going to go spoilers, don't worry. It's going to be spoiler free. But I do want to talk about the nitty gritty that the second half of this film really throws at you, because Jesus fucking Christ. I'm just going to say it. The second half is in none of the trailers, okay? You see nothing of the second half in the trailers, and that's a good thing. I think the second half turns into a parody of itself. It turns into this very meta and very surreal film with a lot of action, which kind of confused me because of the tone of the film. It was a very big tonal shift from what we knew of the first half. The first half almost acting as like this, I guess, Inside Man kind of thriller, the town kind of thriller, and then the second half just turns into like a police procedural and very much an action-filled one. There's a lot of bang shoots, and there's a lot of stab, like there's a lot of stuff like that, and if you like that kind of thing, cool. But it does have this big contrast when you watch the first half and you're like, oh, that's strange, I didn't expect that. Same with the dialogue. Like, the dialogue is very stilted and very it's very weird. But that's kind of what I expect with Shyamalan. Again, just look what happened with Old. Old is a very stilted film. His delivery, the way he directs these people is very strange and very much of his own wavelength. And if you don't get that wavelength, and if you're not on it, you won't understand a single fucking thing. And you won't understand why he's doing it or what he's saying. And that's fine. You know, that's completely fine. But Trap kind of does it in a very funny way, and it kind of works for me. In conclusion, Trap is fun, okay? Trap is one of those films where you just sit there in a theater with a big bucket of popcorn and I guess a Pepsi with 2 ice cubes, and you're having a good time with it. It's got a lot of thrills, it's got a great performance, the location is really interesting. I just wish the second half caught up with me as much as the first half did. I struggled to catch up a little bit, but that's here nor there for me. I'm gonna give Trap a 7 out of 10. M. Night's coming back, guys. M. Night's coming back after a bunch of flops like The Happening, Avatar, fucking After Earth. It's great to see M. Night go back to his roots and go back to the quality that we should get from the guy. Knock at the Cabin, Old, Split. Split might be his best movie since Unbreakable. Not kidding. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me down below, have you seen Trap? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.